Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. After 15 weeks of training, Worcester's newest class of firefighters have graduated. 20 men completed the city's fire academy and officially dropped the handle of recruit. But as our Cam Jandro learns, for graduates, it was a long road to get to this point. Cam?
Anna, for recruits, it was 3 months of late nights, early mornings, and extremely intense training. And after giving their lives to the academy, they can finally call themselves firefighters.
Juan Mendez and Kervin Lima were both in the armed services before going to the fire academy. Growing up in Worcester, becoming a firefighter in the city has always been a dream.
Just serving my community. I think there's no higher calling than serving, especially serving the community you grew up in. You know the neighborhoods, you know the people.
I just thought to myself that I want to do something that makes me happy. Something where I know that I'm making a difference and making an impact on society.
The two men were part of the city's graduating class for 2018. 17 men will work for Worcester Fire, while 3 others will be heading to Marlborough. Mendez and Lima say it was a challenging 15 weeks of training.
Days were pretty long, especially at the beginning where you're not used to wearing the gear, wearing the tank, being on oxygen.
You'd have to go home and study for another 2-3 hours to make sure that all the information that they passed on to you during the day, you can actually recover it.
Thursday's graduation marks Worcester's 3rd class in the last 3 years. Fire Chief Michael Lavoie says the group has already committed to the academy for 2019, which is a good sign for the city.
This allows us to maintain our manpower at full complement. This increases not only the safety of the public, but also our own safety.
Recruits have the opportunity to train more until joining their stations in late June. For Mendez and Lima, getting their pins Thursday was worth the last 3 months of blood, sweat, and tears.
It's a dream come true. I came from the military background, and then this is the next best thing.
So this was the best thing for me, and I'm so glad that I made this decision.
Now, Worcester recruits will be spread at stations all across the city. As for Mendez and Lima, they'll begin their firefighting careers at the Greendale and Franklin Street locations. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. In honor of Flag Day, veterans gather tonight at the Central Massachusetts Korean War Memorial in Worcester to properly retire flags. Quabbin's NROTC students joined veterans in the ceremony, which shows off the proper way to dispose of the flag with dignity and respect. The disposal of the flag begins with the stars being cut off of the tattered flags and saved. Then the stripes are placed into the fire to burn. For years, the Friends of Newton Hill have worked to transform the highest elevation of the park. Thursday, they unveiled a new flagpole dedicated to the late Paul Mullaney. The late veteran raised his family in the neighborhood, and the group says Flag Day is a perfect day for the celebration. Our Olivia Lemon has the story.
A flagpole at the summit of Newton Hill will honor the life of the late Paul V. Mullaney.
Really accomplished a lot in his life, but he carried himself in such a humble, approachable way.
The former mayor, district court judge, and decorated Marine Corps veteran passed away last year. He was known throughout the city, earning the nickname Mr. Worcester.
He loved the city of Worcester, and he grew up in Maine South, went to Holy Cross, went to public schools, and raised 9 children here, and 7 of the 9 are still in the city.
Thursday, the Friends of Newton Hill held the dedication ceremony of the newly installed flagpole for his family, friends, and city leaders.
It's heartwarming. Not only are they part of the community, but the son-in-law, the grandson, they're all very active members of the Friends of Newton Hill. So the whole family's been involved in this whole transformation.
Mullaney was a neighbor and steward of Newton Hill for 58 years. His son Paul says he would be honored to see the work being done there.
He'd be very proud of us and the city and how we're carrying on this tradition of beautifying the city and beautifying Newton Hill and encouraging young people to be stewards for our parks as well.
That was our Olivia Lemon reporting. A ceremony held in Worcester tonight honors the highest achieving members of Girl Scouts in Massachusetts. Girl Scouts of Central and Western Massachusetts honored 95 Girl Scouts for their leadership and dedication to the community tonight. 73 Girl Scouts earned the Silver Award, which they received through community service and working to improve others as well as their own lives. 22 Girl Scouts earned the Gold Award, which the organization says is one of the most prestigious awards in the world for girls. It's earned by completing a 7-step project where the girls address a significant problem in their community. 17-year-old MICHAELA CLANCY based her project on mental health and suicide.
As a patch for Girl Scouts to earn. I also made poster boards and trifold boards for the public library and my school with information about depression, suicide, and resources for people to use if they are struggling with those issues.
18-year-old Brenda Ruiz based her project on empowering youth and Latino minorities through their academics.
I actually hosted a 4-month-long program, 2-hour sessions each, and it focused on the STEM topics. So I taught them science, engineering, technology, mathematics, and during that time I helped them take an interest through interactive activities. And at the end of the program, I actually gave them donated laptops so they could take those resources home.
Interesting to note, only 6% of Girl Scouts go on to earn the Gold Award annually. The fate of a former Worcester church is now in the hands of a judge. The Save Notre Dame Alliance says the building was never vetted by the state, but the developer says they notified the state of demolition plans a year ago. Our Brittany Schaefer was in court today and has the details.
It's an all or nothing situation. We're going to lose the building or we're not going to lose it.
It's the last chance for a historic church. Thursday, the Save Notre Dame Alliance brings the developers who plan to demolish the building to court.
If you're going to tear a masterpiece down, if you're going to burn a Picasso in the middle of Main Street, at least you should do it according to the law.
Well, I'm praying a lot. I am nervous.
The main argument between lawyers was whether the building falls under the Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act. This would require state agencies to study the environmental impacts of projects requiring state permitting.
It says that where there's state funding, there is legal jurisdiction. And it is the broad variety that extends to all aspects of the project that are likely, directly or indirectly, to cause damage to the environment.
And NEPA jurisdiction does not exist in this matter because none of the jurisdictional requirements that are described in CMR section 11.02A are met.
The argument now is whether state funding from the past applies to this recent private purchase by City Square 2 development.
Endeavor to render a decision expeditiously because I'm aware of the importance. I certainly appreciate the public interest in this matter. I understand it's very important, and I appreciate people's passion on all sides of this. And please understand, whatever decision I make will be in accordance with the law.
Plaintiff attorney Robert Scott says the fate of the Notre Dame des Canadiens Church is up in the air.
I know he's a very careful judge, but I can't tell you how it's going to go.
City Square declined to comment further. The demolition of the church is described as imminent and could begin within the next couple of days, meaning the judge doesn't have much time to make a decision. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Lodging options in Worcester continue to expand with the grand opening of Worcester's newest hotel. The AC Hotel, which is operated by Colwyn Hotels, features 170 rooms, some with views of the whole city, 7,000 square feet of meeting space, and an outdoor tent which can accommodate up to 250 people. General Manager Andrew Dunn says the location and features the hotel offers sets them apart from the competition.
For a brand new property, or European design, clean lines, something Worcester has definitely never seen, and AC hotels are the it hotel of the future for right now. The most unique thing, I think, is the fact that we combine the 170 guest rooms with the meeting space that we have. Again, about 7,000 square feet, and in the city of Worcester and the surrounding area, that's definitely a unique feature.
Colwyn Hotels also operate the Hampton Inn and Suites and Courtyard in Worcester. The hotel officially opened back in April. You may have noticed them at a park or a field. Gypsy moth caterpillars are back. But some local experts say this year isn't as bad as the past. Our Rosalind Flaherty explains.
Gypsy moth caterpillars cling to this birch tree at Tower Hill Botanic Garden.
They're definitely here. Some areas are worse than others.
The caterpillars are out, but the garden says they actually aren't seeing as many as in years past.
Last year, when we had sort of a wetter period, really sort of decreased the numbers quite a bit.
The Department of Conservation and Recreation says a damp spring helps grow a soil-borne fungus, which kills off the caterpillars.
The days it rains, it may not be fun for you going outside, but it's very good for killing caterpillars.
Forester Nicole Kelleher says in 2017, more than 900,000 acres of trees were impacted across the state by the insects. It was the largest outbreak since the early 80s.
It is a very large area impacted, but not all of that was completely defoliated. Some had minimal defoliation on certain trees, some had complete defoliation on all trees.
She says even though this year is less widespread, they are seeing pockets of defoliation, particularly in the last week because the caterpillars are becoming larger.
A lot more trees starting to stand out, and this year it's mostly in oaks.
Kelleher says it's a little too late for people to treat their trees, but says the good news is the caterpillars are nearing the end of their life cycle and will soon turn into moths.
You just have to hold out a few more weeks until they're done.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.